Well, Darrel, there are a handful of not like super academic or scholastically rigorous articles on this topic. And I have a bunch of those linked in the show notes to this episode. But I'm curious if there are any books or particular resources that you might point people towards who are curious to better understand, I suppose, everything from sex addiction to the fantasy of sex addiction.
Well, I think there's several books. Of course, my own book, Sex and God, I think helps look at that piece. I think Marty Klein's book, Sexual Intelligence, is pretty good about some of those issues. And I think Dr. David Lay's book on the myth of sex addiction is another resource. So those three books just come to the top of my head. I can't think of anything else at this specific moment.
Yeah, I definitely admire very much both of the things that you just referenced, and then I'll mention perhaps in particularly Marty Klein's book, His Porn, Her Pain, as well as Come As You Are by Emily Nagoski as a book particularly for women to consider some of their experiences of shame and some of like the differential expectations that are placed on women in our culture and how that can get in the way of our sexuality and our sense of like self-control.
Right. Yep. I would agree with all those things.
Sure. Well, and then, of course, we want to remind people again about your work with recovering from religion. Was there anything else that you wanted to mention about the events that y'all have coming up?
Sure. Yeah. I'd like for people to go and donate to Recovering from Religion. It's our only fundraiser. Every year we just do one fundraiser, official fundraiser. People do fundraisers for us on their own, which is fine. But go to our fundraiser at recoveringfromreligion.org and hit the donate button and find out. Or join us on February 19th for your friendly neighborhood atheist, Ethan Michaels, who's put a ginormous number of YouTubers all together, and they're all going to spend about 4.5 hours talking about recovering from religion and what we do and the fundraiser. And it'd be a good opportunity to call. I think you can even call in to some of those to the components and talk to some of the YouTubers. But join us for this great thing. We have got, at this moment, talking Christy, we've got around 300 volunteers in 16 different time zones around the planet. And we've got huge numbers of volunteers in Canada and Australia. We've got volunteers in South Africa, in Mexico, several places in Europe, of course, a lot in the United Kingdom. And all this stuff we do for free. All these volunteers come and they go through a very sophisticated training program, which you've seen a little bit of, actually, I think.
I have. I went through that training program, and it's legitimately rigorous. I was very impressed. I've worked at a call center working around crisis calls, and then as a therapist, and there was a lot in that training that I recognized.
Yeah. Well, we tell people that if you go through our training, you're getting some of the very stuff you get in the very first year of your clinical training, if you're going in to be a social worker or psychologist or something. So we just need funds to be able to function the way we are. We are getting ready to expand in some major ways. I can't even talk about one of the things. We hope to have an answer in the next month or so, but it will be a lot of fun what we're getting ready to open up. But the main thing is it's just giving us the resources to help people do what they want to do with their lives once they've left religion. And in donating to us, you're supporting the Secular Therapy Project, where people can go find therapists. You're supporting the chat line and the helpline where people can call or chat. You're supporting our groups that meet face-to-face when we don't have a pandemic. You're supporting our women-only groups. We've got a women-only group that meets regularly for anybody who identifies as a woman. That's we don't care. And just to deal with the religious issues that women deal with when they leave religion. Mm-hmm. So there's lots of things. We've got an LGBTQ group, solo. We've got ex-Baptists. We've got ex-Catholics. What you need, we've got it, but we need your support to be able to do it. And of course, we're always looking for volunteers. So if anybody listening here, we we actually need some volunteers in the IT area. So if you've got IT skills and web development, I don't know any of that stuff, but if you've got some IT skills, we could use some help on our back end stuff. Anyway, thanks for having me on, Christy. I really appreciate it. And we just love the fact that you guys support Recovery from Religion so much too.
You know,
Always appreciate that.
It's so fascinating that you mentioned that, because in a way that I wouldn't have put together even just a few years ago, there are so many people who share specific, like from who were in the same denomination, who are now talking about the same shared experiences and things that they all went to, even though they've never met each other. They're going through the same thing. So groups like ex-Catholic or ex-Mormon groups are fascinating spaces to and I'm glad that resources like yours exist that are trying to help them out.
And our resources behind a wall, not a paywall. You don't have to pay. It's behind a wall. Nobody can get in there unless we let them in. And they're moderated. So you're not going to get some troll or anybody proselytizing you. And it's not an angry atheist group. It's not people saying, I'm so mad at religion or I'm mad at the Baptist. I mean, they may be. I'm not saying they're not.
Sure.
It's just we don't. That's not something we focus on. We focus more on just sharing experiences in almost a peer support way.
It's a healing space. I mean, there's value in expressing that aggression and expressing that anger, but there's a real need to I suppose have a little bit of quiet and community around some of this hurt. So it's really beautiful work that y'all are doing. Before Puck starts to wrap us up for the night, did you have any final thoughts you wanted to leave with the audience about pornosexuality or sort of the fantasy of sex addiction?
Well, I would say be the sexual person you want to be. Allocate your own emotional and physical resources according to your own values. And if one of your values is that you want to have close, intimate relationships with another human being, then you're going to have to allocate some of that energy to that relationship. You can't expect good, healthy relationships without a little oxytocin flowing between the two of you on a regular basis. That's my last words.
So where else can we get a hold of you, Darrel Ray?
You can go to recoveryfromreligion.org and ask for me. My email is Darrel@recoveryfromreligion. And always glad to try and answer questions. Mainly, I will refer you to the resources because that's what we're all about, resources. And come to recoveryfromreligion.org and hit the chat button if you want to chat with us, or hit 844 I doubt it is the phone number you call if you're in North America. And we've got phone numbers from Australia, phone numbers from New Zealand, from United Kingdom, from South Africa. With the direct lines, you can actually call us, although charges might apply. So be careful in dialing up.